Hey everyone, welcome to JoJo's World.
Good evening and good welcome.
Good welcome.
Good welcome.
And welcome to you.
Well, come on down.
Well, come? I don't think so.
That's going to get cut. That's going to totally get cut.
Nick, I don't cut things from the podcast unless it's me clearing my throat talking over you.
Oh, that's fair. That is fair. Everything we say goes out unedited, except for...
Yeah, this show is ripped from the headlines, from my brain to your ears.
And my God, do we apologize profusely for that.
My God.
Well, come.
Stay
JoJo's
a while
World.
and listen.
Oh,
What
God.
is that, Diablo?
Yeah, that's Diablo 2?
Cody.
Diablo Cody?
Yep.
What?
So, Nick,
Yes.
I'm Liam S. Smith, one of your co-hosts.
And I'm Nick Valentine, the other one of the co-hosts.
This is, of course, JoJo's World, our JoJo's Bizarre Adventure recap and discussion podcast, where today we are recapping and discussing Legend of Galactic Heroes episodes 9 and 10.
And I'm always right. Just needed to point that out. Just need to point out I'm always right, Liam.
What are you doing, me? Or
No, I'm
is
doing
that your
me.
impression
No,
of
this
me?
is
Okay.
me. This is me saying on this podcast I'm always right.
Name 3 times you've been right.
Last episode, when we were talking about that thing that you were like, Nick, that's not right, and I was right.
That's nothing.
And then
You
there was
can't just say that.
and then
It's
there
not
was a
naming
second
time.
time
0.
it happened. The second time it happened last episode, so that's 2.
0.
And that time last year when we were talking about something, and I was right again.
0. You've
So
named
I am
0 times.
3 for 3, right? I'm right every time on this podcast.
I'll grant you 1 because I do remember issuing myself a correction based on what you'd said in a previous episode.
And when we were playing EDF, there was a time when I was like, surely this happened, and you were like, Nick, you loathsome fool. You absolute abhorrent individual.
No, I remember you said that the colonists who look just like humans were mind-controlled conquests of the alien's previous.
Yeah, there was some kind of slave colony or something.
And I said, that doesn't sound right, but it was apparently right.
And that's why I'm always right, Liam. I keep saying it. Literally every podcast I'm saying I'm right. I think.
You could be wrong about that.
I could, look, there's a potential, there's an 80% chance I'm wrong.
Why are you bringing this up?
I don't know, I just wanted to bring it up.
Okay.
I just needed a day where I'm like, you know what?
Strong editorial lens on this podcast. Only the important information is brought up.
Yeah, today I'm just like, you know what? I needed a me day. So I think, you know what? I'm right about everything today. It doesn't matter who says, no, Nick, you can't mow the lawn with your scythe because that's not going to work. The hill goes up, the scythe goes into the hill. And I'll be like, no, you know
Is that
what?
a thing?
Well, I don't know.
Don't you do like a backwards motion with a scythe?
No. So with a scythe, the viewers are going to love this thrilling dialogue. So you get your scythe.
You're holding it by its 2 handles.
It's 2 handles there, and then you go left and right.
I thought you'd be pulling back because the sharp edge is facing you.
No. So that's like more of a
Backhoe.
yeah. But what you want to do is you want to go.
We don't know tools.
Listen, you want more of like a side scythe. You don't want a backhoe, all right? You want like more of a swishing motion.
And what were nunchucks used for?
I think nunchucks are used for when you have some kind of trouble of immense kind of magnitude in a sort of area.
There aren't
of town.
any of them in that movie. I was
Are
looking.
you joking?
I
What?
watched Big Trouble in Little China last night, listeners.
And man, we have been talking
I
about
would
it.
say like 75% holds up. There's some depictions of the Chinese diaspora in America and Chinese culture that perhaps are flattened or fictionalized that maybe would raise some ire if it were released in this day and age, but overall still a fun romp.
But like you told me, there's a guy from like 200 BC.
Yeah. Lopan.
Yeah. There's the main character doesn't do anything
He's pretty useless.
of note until the very
He does
end.
things of note all the time. It's just that he's rarely outright successful.
Yeah. And the whole thing is just like...
So the most iconic example to my mind is there's a big melee that kicks off the climax between the good guys and the bad guys, as you might expect.
Of course.
And the first thing he does that starts that fight is he pulls out the submachine gun he acquired in a previous action sequence, fires it into the ceiling, dislodging some stones that fall on his head and knock him out for a good 30 seconds.
An absolute madman. Man, John Carpenter must be a big fan of, like, role-playing games. Just because he can go, you failed. But that's okay. All right, most of my films will
fail
involve
forward.
some... Yeah, fail forward. Absolutely.
I was talking to a friend of mine about the film this morning, actually. Not you.
Oh.
And he said that as far as he's aware, John Carpenter's a pretty cool guy who mostly these days just plays video games and plays things on synths for fun.
Yeah, that tracks. Because he wrote all of his own music for his films, if I
Couldn't
remember
tell you.
right. Because I remember he composed the Thing music. That's
the
like,
thing,
you know the Thing,
the
right?
theme music for the thing.
Yeah,
the thing music for the theme.
The theme music for the Thing, which is amazing. But he did it all on like it wasn't like a theremin, but some old school synth where he was
Lava
like,
theremin.
yeah, and he was just like, don't worry, I got this. And
Who's
then it
been
came
touching
out.
my theremins?
Guys,
You don't need to touch them.
this is why I don't like when kids come over.
The recurring subplot, which I guess must be drawn from the source material, but the recurring subplot in the TV series Hannibal, where Hannibal plays the theremin, just seems so jarringly at odds with everything else about his character.
Wait, why do they need to make it a thing that he plays the
It's
theremin?
just a thing that he does.
Is that, he should play the organ.
No one should play the theremin.
Yeah, literally the theremin
It should only be used for the Doctor Who theme music and nothing else.
Well, wasn't there,
And of course, like sci-fi 50s B-movie music that goes like.
No, but wasn't the theremin used in like in Hades, like the game
know.
Hades? That's a cool use of a theremin. It's like the underworld where you're like,
It's good for making ghost sounds and spaceship sounds.
yeah, and maybe the occasional like theremin solo if
Well,
you're that way inclined.
How does that work?
the theremin?
Yeah, so there's a pole. It's radiating
Yeah,
electromagnetism.
yeah. You getting it?
Do you have some sort of like ring on your finger or something, or is
No.
it just proximity?
Yeah, it's just like your body, right? I think the way it works is your
We're
body.
gonna get so many tweets about this.
Oh boy, here we go. So
It's like, hey, we don't check the Twitter anymore. We're
Yeah.
on Blue Sky.
so I think like
Bluesky.com. JoJo'sWorld.net is the handle.
ooh.
And I'm oneface.bluesky.com.
Wait, I didn't realize that you were one face.
I secured the coveted one face handle.
Everyone loves Blue Sky now.
No
Yep.
one really does.
Yeah, no
Some
one.
people are going to threads, but it's not really my speed. This is my microblogging hour. I did think in the 2 episodes we watched today, when someone flipped a coin, I was like, oh, he's doing a one face thing.
Where was I going with any of the... Oh, yeah.
Theremins.
A theremin. I'm pretty sure that the way a theremin works is that there's like...
Listeners, it's very important you understand we don't actually know
Yeah,
anything.
I have no idea how it
Nick's an
actually
electrical
works.
engineer. He maybe should know
I'm
this.
not an electrical engineer at all. What are you talking
You
about?
were... Okay.
I've studied
You were not
some.
an electrical engineer. You at one point considered becoming one.
Yeah. I studied some electrical engineering. And
I'm pretty sure on this podcast, in its early days, you did at one point identify yourself as an electrical engineer.
Yeah, well, so I could get hired as an electrical engineer, but that's neither here nor there.
And I'm sure I once described myself as an artist, and that's not true either.
Look, people lie all the time. And the way that a theremin works is that there's like an empty space, and when you put your hand there,
It goes woo 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 woo.
it goes woo woo woo, right? But I think the way it works is down at the bottom here, there's like an antenna kind of thing that's like shooting out something, and when it like reflects back from your hand, maybe, or maybe like it's shooting from above, it's waiting for something to get there, but because of your hand being like a capacitor, it might delay the signal. I don't know. I'd have to read up on it, but I do know that when you put your hand there, it goes. And
Great,
that's-
and I'm sure we can put that in the annals of the time I tried to describe what rotoscoping was from my own imagination.
I only know rotoscoping as the thing that you do when you draw over someone.
Yeah.
But I understand it's more complicated than that.
I love how this is kind of an iconic moment of people looking back on this film. You know, the Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings movie.
Oh, yeah.
Where there's like they're doing a chase sequence or a running sequence, and the guy playing Aragorn, who was doing the rotoscoping, I guess you'd say equivalent of motion capture. I don't know what the technical term is. Just like trips and eats shit, and they just worked that into the rotoscoped animation.
Well, I mean, if you're going to draw over it, you may as well, right? Like, if they were like, oh, can we just have him running? It's like, dude, that's not going to... We can't draw him that well, man. Now you're talking about an animated film. It's like, but can we do it? It's like, no.
And we're talking about an animated series today here on JoJo's World.
Legend of Galactic Heroes.
We cannot emphasize enough how much we are enjoying this show.
It's like... There's something about 90s anime.
Well, 80s technically, isn't it?
Yeah, 80s and 90s anime that it's like you could just do things and it didn't have to pass through like, you know, fucking
I'm bracing myself for some broad generalizations.
yeah, like some focus groups or some marketing divisions. It was just like oh yeah, we're gonna make this show, eh? And you're like, yeah, cool. And it's like it could be based on a light novel, and then it would come out and you'd be like, yeah, I guess that technically was from the source material.
Well, it's funny you say that, Nick,
Hmm.
because a bit of trivia that I have for these two episodes is they've both taken some pretty heavy liberties with the source material.
What could I say?
So,
Look,
episode 9, the first one we watched today, which is the Imperial side of the story, the Klopstock incident.
the Klopstock incident.
We are going to say clock stop at some point, I'm sure. And a clock did famously stop in one of the scenes.
That is true. It didn't stop. Well, I guess it stopped in the sense that it exploded.
Well, we saw the glass frame crack around it.
Ooh.
Marquis Klopstock and his failed assassination plot is actually based on the events of the third chapter of the Gaiden novel Star Crusher, and not from the main novel series.
Huh.
In the novel, the Klopstock incident took place in March 1795 UC, and not the latter half of 1796 UC as depicted in this episode.
Okay, yeah.
So some liberties taken with the
timeline
and also working it into the main plot of
Yeah.
the thing. And then the second episode we watched, which was, of course, Jessica's battle. Jessica.
Oh, is it inner battle? Oh,
No.
I get it. Oh.
This episode greatly expanded the details of Jessica's foray into politics. In the novel, Volume 1, Chapter 6, her victory in this election was only mentioned by her father, Dwight, as a conversation topic during a dinner with his daughter.
Oh.
Yang and Julian... Oh, with his daughter, Yang and Julian. So, the very dinner we saw them arranging at the latter half of this episode.
Hey, we should have a
So
dinner.
basically, this whole episode was just much like Jessica's role in the previous episode she was in.
Yeah.
It's been heavily adapted from throwaway mentions in the light novel. It's almost like there's a pattern forming there.
Yeah.
They're making this character more significant.
Maybe, I mean, I don't know how big Jessica's role is later, but maybe
can say?
they were just like, well, if we don't do anything, it's going to be really weird. Let's give us some more backstory. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
But are they pulling from anything other than that? Like, does it say on the wiki, oh, they pulled it from this side?
No,
Like,
it doesn't say that. It was just
Oh.
off referred to. I guess in the dinner we may see next time we have a Yang episode. They might be talking with Julian, Dwight and Jessica, and Dwight will say, Dwight Greenhill, that is, Vice Admiral.
Yep. Father of Jessica.
Yeah, might say, wow, it's so impressive that you've been elected to whatever she's been elected to. That
Position
was
of
unclear.
president.
Because of the anti-war party, because of the pro-war party's attack on the
Oh, on the
anti-war party's base.
Yeah, but we're not going to talk about that
we'll
yet.
get to that,
That's
we'll get to that.
whoa.
So yeah, these two episodes are both relatively self-contained, but they are just delving into the politics of the two space states.
Which, ironically, very similar in terms of their loathsome parts.
A lot of backstabbing, a lot of
Political-
underhanded maneuvering,
Oh, so much explosion as well. So many
much explosion.
There's so many explode. So
It's true, there are explosions in both episodes.
yeah, they both involve a bombing.
They're like dark mirrors of each other.
Oh, I get it.
Too many phones.
Because fascism and democracy are equally flawed.
And because liberalism will inevitably fail to prevent the rise of fascism.
See, war makes fascists of us all.
Not me.
Just, I can imagine like a complete fascist state, and then you just come along and are like, nah, I'm not fascist. Don't worry, I'm all good. I'm fine. I'm Liam.
I'm Liam.
Yeah.
And then I take him down from the outside.
I would absolutely be that one guy who's like, oh, maybe fascism has some good things to it. Because,
Nick, you can't say that.
no, because of the propaganda everywhere. Because that's how fascism works.
I don't want you advocating for fascism.
No, I'm not
on the
advocating.
podcast.
I'm saying that if I was in a fascist state where there's heaps of propaganda, I'd be that gullible motherfucker.
You'd sup that up.
Oh, absolutely. It's the same as like if I worked at, say, some giant corporation,
Oh, I'm not doing this.
I would absolutely be like, yeah, let's drink that Kool-Aid. Let's go in. Let's go full on. I wouldn't have any self-respect. It'd be fine. I say fine. It'd be terrible.
Nick's not very happy in his job right now.
I will kill anyone who says otherwise.
We open with a brief history of the Kaiser's rule.
He's not a very good Kaiser.
No, Friedrich IV. Friedrich?
Friedrich?
Friedrich.
The 36th Kaiser.
He's 63 years old. He succeeded to the throne 34 years ago
Same.
because he had two much more interesting brothers, but one of whom was executed for an attempt on the previous Kaiser's life, and then the other was revealed to have framed his brother for that plot and died in a terrible accident while trying to escape to Alliance space.
Yep. So, he's the only guy left.
So that left the spare son.
Oh, thank God I had a third son.
Yeah.
I can imagine in medieval times a king actually saying, "Whew, thank God I have a third son.
Yeah.
That'd be bad."
Really annoyed that I killed my first and better son because of the actions of my second eviler son.
But we couldn't have known at the time, so there was no way of possibly, imprisoning
Yeah.
him instead.
The narrator says, he's not been a particularly wise ruler, nor has he been a tyrant. His relatives criticize him as the mediocre Kaiser of the Ashes.
Because, it's like...
And that links
the
back
end
to
times
what
are
he was
coming,
saying a couple of episodes ago about, like, even our dynasty will end, and I can see it coming because I suck, and the empire even now bucks under my reign. When he was younger, he had huge debaucherous parties and was almost disowned. But yeah, as I said,
He's an absolute lad.
he's the Kaiser now,
Yeah.
and he leaves most of the ruling to Marquis Lichtenlard.
I'm sorry, what?
Marquis Lichtenlard,
Lichtenlard?
the Secretary of State that we've seen in a few former episodes, but didn't really clock his name.
Oh, the guy who, I think in last episode, he was like, "What? What do you mean?" And he was like, well, I'm just trimming this bush here, and I'm
Yeah,
a happy
yeah.
man. Yeah. And he was just shocked. He was
And
like,
the guy who was like, we can't possibly allow Count von Lohengram to accrue more political power.
just leave me to my rose bushes.
Let him, it's fine. I'll die soon anyway.
My lord.
And I'll get to spend more time with his beautiful sister.
Me. God, so much about this sister that even in this episode, more things of but then I get to see my sister.
Reinhardt's barely even in this episode. Reinhold, I can never get that straight in my head.
Wait, who are you referencing?
Reinhold or Reinhardt. Reinhardt, it is Reinhardt.
Yeah, Reinhardt, yeah.
I can never, for
Reinhardt
some
von
reason, I can
Lohengram.
never get that straight in my head.
You gotta get Reinhardt.
The mnemonic device is it's the same name as the Overwatch guy.
Wait, is the Overwatch guy named Reinhardt or
Yeah.
Reinhold?
Reinhardt.
Okay.
And it's not, and I think I've said this in a previous episode too, it's not Judge Reinhold, the actor who featured in Arrested Development as a Judge Judy style.
Oh, yeah. Who was actually not a real judge?
Yeah, his name was just Judge.
Yeah.
My name is Judge. You remember.
Oh, so good. Arrested Development seasons 2 and 3 are just peak, TV. And I'll die to anyone who says otherwise.
You'll die to them.
Yeah.
You'll let them kill you.
I'll let them come up to me and be like, nah, and then I'll just fall over and die. That's it. And you know me, I'm always right, okay?
I'm ready to die to anyone at a moment's notice.
If you come up to me on the street and you're like, hey, aren't you that Nick guy from JoJo's? I'll be like, ugh! And then I'll just fall,
Yep.
dead, concussed. And I'm always right about things.
Okay, so the thrust of this episode is that this imperial noble, Prince Braunschweig,
Okay.
he's throwing a party, and he wants the Kaiser to come to jockey for power, because that's what the nobles be doing.
As you do.
And the whole party is about, the whole episode is about people going but not really wanting to go to this party. And this other noble, Klopstock,
Klopstock? Yep.
who supported the other prince way back in the day.
The one that tried to actually do the assassination and framed his brother.
Yes.
Yep.
He supported him in that plot.
Lemons.
And so has been in political disfavor ever since, trying to exact his revenge on Braunschweig and the Kaiser.
And I think even his advisor, or whoever it is that he's talking to in this bit, he is just like, oh, you couldn't possibly go to this party. You've been exiled for 30 years. And he's like, yes, that was 30 years ago. But it's ancient history now, all right?
So what happens is we are introduced to this plot because Klopstock is gifting a beautiful portrait
Oh, Jesus Christ.
of
This thing. Is it the
Kaiser Rudolph, the
Yeah.
first Kaiser, that has been in his family for generations, to Braunschweig as a way to curry enough favor to get invited to this party that the Kaiser is going to, under the guise of the ruse that Klopstock is doing is that he wants Braunschweig to intercede with the Kaiser on his behalf, so that the elderly Klopstock's kids will be welcomed back into imperial society.
Because he's fucked.
Because he's an outcast. Like, he's still a wealthy noble, so he's not doing too poorly.
Yeah. But no one treats him with
He
respect.
doesn't get invited to the parties.
He doesn't get drinks with anyone.
He doesn't have political influence.
He's got no babes with him.
And he doesn't want that for his kids. What he's actually doing is planning to bomb the party, but...
And not in a, like, comedic sense. He'll walk and be like, hey...
Tell some bad jokes.
What's the deal with Imperial airports? He'll, like, literally take a bomb and be... Spaceports? Klopstock?
Klopstock spaceports.
Klopstock spaceport. Okay, here we go. Let's go. We're bombing the podcast.
Oh, we are bombing the podcast. There's no good jokes in this one.
So he's basically going to show up, bomb it, and leave. Or he'll... No, hang on. He will show up, leave, a bomb there, then he will leave and then bomb it.
Oh, what a clever play on words, Nick.
We got it. I was just thinking, it's like, oh, he shows up, bombs, and leaves. Like, he's a lich now. Oh, great. That's not how this goes.
What?
Like, in my brain, I thought, oh, he goes there, he bombs it, then he leaves. It's like, no, he has to leave before he bombs it.
Okay, but where did you get lich from?
Because if he bombs it and leaves, it's like, how is he still alive? Oh, he's a lich. It's the only
You
explanation.
don't know that, Nick. It could be a Highlander.
That is true.
It could be Lo Pan from Big Trouble in Little China.
That's also true.
You assume.
He could be a ghost. He could just be all like, I'm playing my theremin, and then just...
It's true, he could be playing his theremin.
Could ghosts play theremin if they don't have any physical...
You know, we should definitely put that out there so that instead of just holding around, like, electromagnetism detectors, ghost hunters start setting up theremins in haunted houses.
Anytime they hear a woo, they're like, oh my god, it's real.
Quick, get the theremins!
The brand new...
Get the contrabass theremin.
Is it Phasma... The contrabass theremin.
Yeah.
Okay, quick. Get that massive theremin that's basically the size of a car.
It's like a lightning rod.
Oh god. What's the... It's like...
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia?
The ghost hunting one. Phasmophobia. Because it's being scared of ghosts.
Right, okay. So that with a theremin now.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we're cooking.
And also they should let me have a theremin. I don't know why we're talking about theremins so much today. In Helldivers 2.
They should replace all the knives with theremins.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So anyway, this guy's going to get invited to this party.
Yeah.
Klopstock.
He bowed his head and grovelled to Braunschweig, and he's got that invitation.
So he goes back to his car, and they're all like, you feel ashamed, don't you? It's like, of course I feel ashamed.
But I've done it, and they'll all pay. They'll all pay.
With my bomb.
Yeah, he's got a bomb.
Yeah, so his big plan... Or shall we wait until it shows up?
Can we quickly describe these two guys' appearances?
Okay, so old man Klopstock.
He looks like Comstock from Bioshock Infinite.
You mean old Comstock? Yeah. Super old.
He's got white, thick eyebrows.
Like an old man.
Old man beard, receding hairline, hair slicked back, real piece of shit.
God, he's so old. He's just a very old man.
He's wearing your classic imperial aristocrat's outfit. He's wearing an overcoat, a cravat. It's grey.
He's got a cane.
Meanwhile, the young and virile Braunschweig.
He's got like a little quirky smirk to him.
He's got brown hair. He's got a bright red coat.
He's got thin eyebrows, which are still very bushy for this show. But he hasn't got a receding hairline. He's just got a, what do you call
a widow's peak.
A widow's peak because he gets
killed his wife.
He's got a big
his
ponytail.
Awful son is also there, Baron Flegel, who basically is just to get owned by Reinhard later.
Is that Flegel his son?
I assumed so.
Or is he just some random guy who's there?
Let me find the dialogue.
Yeah. So basically, Klopstock is leaving, and they're Bloodfest is all like, hey, Baron Flegel.
I assumed he was his son, but I guess there's not actually any dialogue in this scene, at least, making that explicit.
Yeah, he's all like, Baron Flegel, have a look at this guy.
They've got the same hair colour, you know.
Oh, okay, I can see it. Yeah, all right. And they both make a big evil laugh because
there's a lot. I wouldn't even say evil laugh so much as there's a lot of smug aristocratic laughter in this episode. You're like,
so both of them are just like, well, look at that old tottering fool. He thinks he's gonna make it back into the thing.
But father, question mark? He was only never allowed back into Imperial Society because you told the Kaiser he shouldn't.
Well, guess what? I'll tell him a second time.
Yes. And now we've got this beautiful painting that we love so much. Let's go look at it some more.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the car, he's all like, I have a bomb. I'm
Yeah.
going to bomb them tonight.
Meanwhile, Reinhardt is like, I don't want to go to the party. And Kirk Kaiser is like, you've got to. The Kaiser's going to be there.
And he's like, oh, but I don't want to be some political tool for the Kaiser to play with. You know, think about fucking, like, this prince, right? Who even is this guy?
I've got some quotes.
Okay.
Kirkais. If you refuse Prince Braunschweig's invitation, what will the court say about you? And Reinhard responds, he struts around arrogantly, as if he's one of the chosen people. Well, he probably hates you too. But didn't he invite you courteously anyway? He just wants to increase attendance. Oh, must I play a tool to demonstrate his authority? Forget it. And basically they go back and forth, and Reinhardt's like, yeah, I know, you're going to give me all this good reasoning as to why I should go, so I will go, but I'm going to make you come too.
But the thing is, Kirkais can't get in.
Yeah, so we get to that later. Basically, Kirkais is outside with the staff.
Because obviously he wasn't invited.
Yeah.
You know, you can't go to a party uninvited.
So, I mean, I feel like he probably could have got in if
No, absolutely.
Reinhardt tried to bring him.
You have to
just because of the reaction when they find out who he is.
No, you have to understand. Kirkais, no way he can get it. You can't get into a party
Not a
without
noble
invite.
party. Not when you're a lowly vice admiral.
Look, you can't... Look, Liam, if there's one rule in life that I follow, you can't get into a party unless you're invited. It's kept me from numerous advantages in life and has made me a deeply troubled individual, but my God has it paid off in the long run, because I haven't had to go to parties that I wasn't invited to. Because you can't get into a party that you're not invited to.
Speaking of someone who used to have a career running parties for people, anyone can just saunter into anything.
You can't get into the thing unless you have an invite. It's not, you can't, you're not allowed into these parties. Like, if I showed up to your house one day, I'm like, hey, what up?
I mean, let's be honest, I don't throw parties.
Yeah, but like, if you were throwing a party and I showed up and like, hey, I haven't got an invite, but do you just mind if I like sit in the corner for a while? You'd be like, that's fucking weird. Why do you want to sit in the corner? And I'd be like, oh, well, I wasn't invited, but I'm just here.
They don't know that my bomb's a cane, you'll say. And then we'll all say, yes, you do. Yes, we do.
Ironically, they don't know.
So basically, Klopstock is in his space limo, by which I mean it's a limo with space affectations and is otherwise an ordinary car.
He's on his way to the party right now.
He's parked in front of it, as a matter of fact.
Oh.
And his aide swaps out his walking cane for an identical one that we obviously know, with our knowledge of media, is secretly a bomb.
Yeah, it's either a bomb or gas or
Yeah.
something, but we're all like, it's a fucking bomb.
Yep.
Or it's an axe.
It's true. Shing! And he just starts cutting people in half effortlessly.
Yes, you thought I was an old man. Turns out I've been lifting for 3 years, punk.
I'm the Klopstock Estate's 3 years running woodcutting champion.
I'm afraid that I'm fucking shredded now, so there's no hope.
I do axe throwing on Wednesday nights as part of the league.
Fucking Kirkais is like, I could have sworn there was something different about that old man. He seemed so...
Yoked.
His upper body was so much larger than his lower body.
He has been skipping leg day. Maybe that's why he needs that cane to walk.
Could you imagine, like, at a bodybuilders contest, they're like, and now for the upper body champions. 2 of them just come out with canes because they can't, like, have stability unless they're in that one pose that they do. That'd be amazing.
That'd be really sad, actually.
I mean, yeah, it'd be super depressing. It'd be like the guy who died because he didn't have enough fat in his body because he was so dedicated
that's
to...
upsetting.
It was like he was just pure muscle, so he didn't have any fat to lubricate his whatever fat lubricates in his
I'm
body.
gonna move us along if that's okay.
Anyway, the point being, dude's got a cane with a bomb in it.
And meanwhile, Kirkais and Reinhardt are also in his car, once again being like, do I have to go in? Yes, you have to go in.
Oh, Kirkais, you are wise and beautiful.
Okay, but I'll slip out as soon as possible. And he opens his car door and basically just like almost knocks over Klopstock on his way in, who looks incredibly shocked.
So here's the thing. When this happened, I thought he didn't even touch Klopstock. I thought he just opened the door and got in his way.
Near him.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, sorry. Credit to Reinhardt for once he's being polite to another human. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, that was so rude of me. I didn't hurt you, did I?
And Klopstock is like, and just walks off.
Yep. And then the Baroness wanders over, everyone's favourite character.
And she's all like,
I mean, genuinely, she's been in 2 scenes of this show and she's been pretty delightful.
So I think she goes at this point,
Baroness Magdalena von Westphal.
I think at this point she's like, "Oh, Reinhardt, what a lovely surprise."
She's talking to Siegfried, actually.
Oh, Kirkheis, what a lovely surprise. Won't you come in with us?
Why didn't you come to see me the other day? Oh, I was busy. Sorry. And Reinhardt is like, yeah, that's true. But don't worry, I'll make sure he comes to your birthday party next month.
And she's all like,
And she basically just spends this episode swanning around owning people.
yeah, literally. I think there's one point where she's like, yes, no one expected that old fool to show up. I suppose he can't walk without that cane of his.
Oops, that was rude of me, wasn't it?
Oh,
I am the devil.
I would simply never. Yep.
Anyway, she's fun.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what horrible things happen to her in the course of this show.
I wonder if she's even in the books, or if she's just like someone they inserted to be like, we need someone to be having a good time in this fucking show. Yeah, so basically she's like, won't you accompany me inside? And Reinhardt's like, all right, fine, let's go.
Oh, she does exposit about Klopstock. When Reinhardt asks who he is, she says, oh, that's just Marquis Klopstock. You know, it's understandable he was so out of sorts. He was banished from society over 30 years ago. I wonder what he's doing here. Fan.
Fan.
She's got a big black fan that she uses to fan herself.
That's true, she does have a big fan.
And that fan's name is actually not Kirkheis. He doesn't seem that thrilled to see her.
He's very like, I wish I could just
too busy
see.
thinking about that beautiful sister.
Oh, if only he could see the self.
If only Baroness Magdalena Westphalia was related to Reinhardt. Maybe then I'd be more interested in her.
Are you two cousins by any chance? Like, no, not even remotely. Dull. How uninteresting. So we get a few shots of Klopstock.
Long story short.
Yeah.
Klopstock walks in, sits by himself for a while, then leaves, leaving his cane at the bench he was sitting on.
It's rigged to blow up at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
It's currently 6:40.
Before he went in, he made some remark to his butler, like, oh, I'll only stay for 20 minutes. I won't die with Friedrich and what's the Kaiser's name?
The 36 Kaiser.
Yeah, it's Friedrich.
Goldenbraun
and
the
Brunswick.
Brunswick, whatever.
Yeah, these names.
The Kaiser, you know.
The big, beautiful portrait of Rudolph is on display.
The Baroness. Oh, no, not the Baroness.
That's right. So that Baron Fagel, he wanders over to Reinhardt looking at the portrait and is like, you know, the Marquis Klopstock gave that to us as a way to get into the painting. Quite pathetic, isn't it? Anyway, now we've got some good art.
And Reinhardt is like, yes, you're pathetic.
Yeah, basically, he just absolutely decimates him. He says, you know, it is quite pathetic, and I wonder how many times that's happened, you know. Right now, Klopstock needs to give this painting to someone else to curry favour. Maybe the day will come where Brunswick has to do that too.
And Flegel is all like, what the fuck did you say, little man?
How arrogant and impertinent. And Reinhardt says, I want to get this line correct.
Because it's savage.
Yeah. Okay, so brief exchange here after that thing we just said. Reinhardt says, how often do you think this farce will be repeated, this collecting and showing off of paintings? Flegel says, don't be arrogant, kid. And Reinhardt responds with the most savage own of the episode. I'm not being arrogant. It's just that after being barked at by so many ill-bred dogs, every now and then I take a kick at one for the dog's own good.
Flegel clenches his fist like, why, you little...
And the animation of Reinhardt in this exchange, like every motion, as few as they make in this show, was just oozing with content. Like, he took like a decisive step in Flegel's direction when he attended. His eyes narrowed ever so subtly.
All of his little tassels and stuff are like flailing just enough to be like, I don't want to be here.
Oozing with Studio Ghibli magic.
Oh, yeah. And you just know that they were like, yeah, they hate each other. It's so good.
Around this time, it is first announced that the Kaiser is on his way. Then a couple of scenes later is announced that he's not coming after all.
What?
Apparently he has a stomachache.
A stomachache?
Reinhardt deduces he drank too much.
Yep. So,
And the Baroness is like, oh, that's not going to reflect poorly on our host, is it?
So this makes Klopstock's plan literally pointless now.
Because one of the two men he wanted to kill is not there.
Yeah.
Klopstock's walking outside. Kirkgeist is working on his ornate space laptop in the car.
Yeah, it's like, if you remember those chunky, like, 90s laptops.
A chunky Dell, but it's covered in, like,
incredible, like...
engraving.
Yeah, and, like, ornamentation.
What's the word? Like, there's a word for, like, when an iron gate is, like, imitating vines.
Oh, like a decal.
No.
Like a brush.
Never mind.
Not engraving.
I mean, it is engraved.
Yeah. It's the thing that's on a guitar neck that I can't remember.
Frets.
No, that's just what I do every day. Oh, yep.
I've got anxiety.
The Baroness just comes out. Oh, well, I guess my social anxiety will get the better of me now.
Anyway, Kirklice notices that Klopstock is leaving and doesn't have his cane anymore, which he seemed so dependent on the way in.
We even get, like, a nice little, like, NCIS/CSI/any crime show flashback where they're like, hang on a second.
Leaning heavily on the cane, fingers twitching.
Yeah, and then they're like, huh. Or like a Sherlock thing where it's like, wait, but he's been out of society for 30 years. He's an old man. He had a cane. And Kirkhouse is like, maybe I should actually go check out what's going on in there. All right, I'll calmly walk over.
Yep. Around this time, hang on, I'm skimming through my notes. We're getting a lot of close-ups on the digital clock in Kirklice's car, and also the big grandfather clock in the ballroom. And as it increasingly approaches 7 p.m, Klopstock in his car is like 10 minutes to go. He's really being Walter White in that one episode of Breaking Bad where he does like 20 assassinations in a minute or whatever.
Oh, something like that, because they've gotten all of his men to do that stuff, yeah.
Kirklice can't get past the security. Eventually, like, the manager comes over and he says, I'm Count Lohengram's subordinate. You need to get him at once. And they're running in. Meanwhile, in the ballroom, an old lady passes out and Reinhardt picks her up and carries her to a bench and is like, hey, get this cane out of the way. We've got to put an old lady here.
So then this studious attendant is like, my deepest apologies,
runs
sir.
off with the cane, immediately preceding the explosion.
So the explosion happens and Kirkhouse is outside being like, let me the fuck in.
It's like, what's his name? In World War II, some Nazis hatched a plot to kill Hitler.
Okay, go on. Yep.
As adapted in the Tom Cruise movie from like 2007 or 2008, Valkyrie.
Okay, yep.
What was his name?
Rudolph the
My
Red-Nosed...
gut instinct is telling me Rudolph von Stroheim, but that's the guy from JoJo's.
Stroheim. We have to kill Hitler. Why? Because he doesn't like German technology. That monster.
The 20th July plot, also known as Operation Valkyrie.
Which I'm assuming failed.
And this is from Wikipedia. Klaus von Stauffenberg, that's it.
Klaus von Stauffenberg. Wait, so was this an insider plot to kill Hitler?
Yes.
Right.
Because...
Oh, is this what led Hitler to get more paranoid?
I'm sure it didn't help.
Yeah.
But anyway, basically the plan was, in the war room, in like the Wolf's Den or whatever,
Yeah.
von Stauffenberg, who was part of the command, would leave a briefcase with a bomb in it. It would explode and kill Hitler, allowing he and his collaborators to institute the policy known as Operation Valkyrie, which was a contingency plan for the
Nazis to...
that would allow them to win.
Yeah, okay.
No,
cool.
to restaff command positions in the event that they were eliminated.
Right, okay. So his whole idea was...
I'm the Führer now.
Yeah, okay. So they saw the opportunity, they're like, all right, we know Operation Valkyrie exists. We just need to make it happen ourselves because the Allies are not going to, they're not going to reach our borders or anything like that in time to get us to restaff. But is it they wanted power of the Führer or they wanted just military, oh, hey, all these guys need to be restaffed because we don't trust them kind of thing?
I mean, basically it was an attempted coup.
Yeah, okay, all right. I can respect that.
And anyway, the long and short of it is, and this is going off like half-remembered high school history stuff, so forgive me if I get some details wrong, but basically, there was a big war table in this room, and they someone ended up like tripping on the briefcase, essentially, or kicking it, and moving it next to one of the large table's heavy wooden legs, thereby causing that to shield the bulk of the explosion. Causing
From like a
big table, Nick.
Wait, so you're telling me that this one table leg was like, oh, the bomb went off, and most of the explosion was taken from the table leg.
And the table itself.
That's crazy. I'd have thought that, like...
Okay, here's the summary from Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Under the leadership of Stauffenberg, plotters tried to assassinate Hitler at least 5 different times. Didn't know that.
Oh my god.
With the Gestapo closing in on them, a final attempt was organised in July 1944. Stauffenberg personally took a briefcase full of explosives to a conference in the Wolf's Lair. The explosives were armed and placed next to Hitler, but it appears they were moved unwittingly at the last moment behind a table leg by Heinz Brand, inadvertently saving Hitler's life. When the bomb detonated, it killed Brand and 2 others, while the rest of the room's occupants were injured.
Wow. God damn.
Hitler's trousers were singed by the blast, and he suffered a perforated eardrum and conjunctivitis.
I have a perforated eardrum.
And conjunctivitis?
Nah, not so much.
And how are your trousers?
Which one is conjunctivitis?
Eyes.
Yeah, but what is it?
You get, like, shit in your eyes, and it causes, like, a significant...
Oh, maybe I do. I don't know. I've never been to an eye doctor before. So.
Anyway, the plotters assumed that it was successful and started trying to do their coup.
Yep.
Took control of several cities for a brief period of time, and then the regime reasserted itself and executed them all.
Right. There you go.
There you go.
So this is similar, but
It's similar
dumber.
in that a random confluence of circumstances
prevented the assassination of the Führer
by causing the bomb to be moved to a much less
convenient location.
yeah.
Yeah. So the whole room is fine, basically. They're injured.
Yeah, people are...
There's a few dead people. You know, there's only a few.
Kirkheis is running in and shouting for Rudolf. Reinhardt. Christ. Rudolf!
Where's that big, beautiful red nose of yours? I'm right here. Look! Like, grabs him by the nose and just rips him up. Yeah, so he's going like, Lowengram! And everything is like on fire, everyone's singed, there's heaps of injured people.
Yeah, Reinhardt is basically collapsed against a pillar, and he says, I still can't hear well. A moment ago my ears started ringing with pain, but I knew you'd come looking for me if I just kept still.
Classic.
They should kiss.
I mean, they get pretty fucking close.
This is all my fault. I should have insisted to be allowed inside. And Reinhardt says, that's right, it is all your fault. But it's affectionate ribbing.
Yeah.
Therefore, tomorrow you must treat me to coffee.
Oh.
And then he reaches down next to him and picks up a full bottle of champagne and is like, oh good, this survived. We simply must have some to celebrate our good fortune.
And then the Baroness shows up. And
she's a little roughed up, but...
she's still in good spirits.
Yeah, like her makeup is smeared, she's got some bruises on her face. And she's like, I think I've earned a drink too.
Oh, Baroness. They look over and the massive portrait of the Kaiser.
Yeah, Braunschweig and Flegel are batting impotently at flames that are surrounding the portrait.
And
uncle, he's saying. So Flegel is his
uncle.
nephew.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're batting at these flames. The portrait's basically on fire.
And the 3 guys we like are standing in a line next to each other, watching impassively, being like, oh, it is such a shame to see fine art go up in flames.
I suppose it does have artistic value.
Yeah, the Baroness says, oh dear, what a waste. At least this scene is artistically useful. Oops, slip of the tongue.
Oh my.
And they just stand there watching for, like, I'd say a good 20 seconds.
Oh, probably more even. They're just standing be like, well, up goes that portrait of the Führer. Such
and then
a shame.
security come over and wants everyone's name and rank, just doing their jobs, blah, blah, blah.
Yep, and they're just checking, hey, guess what, a bomb went off.
Kirkheis basically says, oh, I think I deduced who did it because I saw that guy with that cane.
Yep. Hard cut.
Meanwhile, at Klopstock's manor...
At the Klopstock Manor, the new Luigi's mansion.
Klopstock dismisses his staff because he hears his coup has failed because the Kaiser never showed up.
Yep. And he's like, you're telling me the 2 people I wanted to kill...
Are not dead.
Are not dead.
And then we see a bit later, the Imperial, or it's either Braunschweig or the Imperial military are there, and initially that's right, Braunschweig shows up and it's, why aren't you opening fire? Well, my lord, there's a statue of the Kaiser in front of the manor. We can't possibly risk harming it unless you want us to.
And he immediately goes, what the fuck is wrong with you? Come on.
The manor is already on fire, and we see that Klopstock has shot himself to death. Just like Hitler.
Many parallels.
Many people are saying.
Everyone's saying it, you know? This guy, Klopstock, basically Hitler.
My life is over. No, it ended 30 years ago. Driven from society. Friendships lost. Marriage proposals refused. And I have no heir. So what the fuck was he talking about earlier when he was like, my children?
I think
Just
he meant
lies, just full of
grand.
shit.
I don't know.
He's got no heir.
I guess maybe he has no heir, but his not immediate bloodline has some heirs.
His bastard children.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Muddies up the ease of ascension.
And we get a quick scene with Kirk Heiss, Reinhardt, and that beautiful sister.
Ah, the
where
sweet
they're
self.
like, she's like, oh, you wanted the Kaiser to arrest Klopstock, did you? Yes, we came here to ask, but turns out Braunschweig had already asked and he'd said no.
Oh.
And while we were here, we figured we'd say hi.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Sip, sip. Ha, 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 ha.
Small aristocratic laugh.
Did someone hear the Baroness passing by?
Yeah, every single scene, henceforth, if you hear any laughter, you'll be like, is that the Baroness?
And all's well that ends well.
Oh, and we get a very long shot of Kirk Ice looking at the sister being like,
And that's what jockeying for power is like in the Empire.
But what about jockeying for power in the Free People's Alliance?
Why, it's exactly the same.
So, we open the next episode on a plane. A big, beautiful jelly
It's
aeroplane.
kind of a space plane. It's a double-decker. It's so spacious in there. Okay, credit where it's due for
Go on.
the GPA.
The GPA?
Oh, sorry, the F.
the FPA. Yeah.
Lot of spacious interiors.
Well, I mean, it has to be spacious. Look how many people are there.
I'd say this plane probably... It's got... Okay, you know what a plane looks like, listener? The interior of a plane.
Don't assume what our listener knows.
Assume... This is probably first class. He's a war hero and a vice admiral.
Yep.
Two to a row. 3 meters between the rows.
The only thing I can think of right now is there's no classes in the FPA. Yeah, it's like 2 people, they get a window seat and then one person next to
Then a
them.
massive aisle.
Just a huge red carpet on the ground. And we've got Yang and Julian.
Julian. Yang has been invited to the anniversary of the Officers Academy on Heinessen.
Oh.
No, sorry. Oh, yes, sorry. Yeah, it is Heinessen, the FPA planet we're familiar with.
Yep.
In Thernussen, the second largest city.
Ooh. The second largest city.
Thernussen held many memories for Yang from his time at the Academy.
They land.
And they immediately get ambushed by a political opportunist.
What? Why, whoever would want to take a war hero and turn him into some kind of political tool?
Why, it is, of course, what was that guy's name?
Tom Tagliotti? Something Tagliotti.
Raymond Togliatti.
Oh, Raymond Togliatti.
Manager of the National Peace Conference, Thernussen District, member of the pro-war party.
The pro-war party. Just let me say that again. The pro-war party.
I'm sure these are being referred to, like not in official party names, but just in terms of general policy. But there's the two political factions we'll deal with this episode are the pro-war party and the peace party.
Yeah. So pro-war are like, hey, we don't want to like, have an alliance.
Fight for the freedom of the alliance.
Exactly. They don't want to go under the thumb of the empire and be like, oh, they still exist. It's like,
whereas
it's too
the
late
peace
for that.
party are advocating for a peace treaty and the end of the 150 years of galactic war.
Yeah. They're like, listen, we can reach
It's
a
big universe. We can coexist.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, listen, we can all have a good time together. But this guy, Raymond Togliatti.
He says, hey, you're Yang Wen-Li, right? Yeah, shake my hand. Oh, by the way, here's a big banner with my name. Here's some journalists. Shake, shake, shake.
And Yang is like, oh no, what have I gotten myself into? And then he's all like, look, everyone, it's Yang.
He's
on
a
our
war
side."
orphan.
So this little girl shows up and is all like, Yang, here's some flowers.
Vice Admiral Yang, the bouquet. And he takes it from her, and she looks at him with sad, reproaching eyes. And he's like, oh no, war orphans. And Togliatti is like, hey everyone, this girl is a war orphan.
Oh, God.
One of the best war orphans that we've got here
God.
in the Galactic Planets Alliance. Her father was killed in the Battle of Astarte. That's my trump. I'm not going to do it anymore.
Yeah, okay.
Uh,
Thank God.
He gave his life to protect the peace and freedom of... He does look like Trump, that's why I was doing that.
Yeah. He looks like a fucking sleazebag.
Yeah.
He's got fucking skin folds on him. He's a real piece of shit.
He gave his life to protect the peace and freedom of his fatherland. Isn't there some way to honor the sacrifice of her father? There is. fight the Empire.
Kill them all.
And basically in a recap in their hotel room, which we'll get to in a sec, Yang is like, felt really used by that, and I could tell that the question in that little girl's eyes was, why did you kill my dad?
Yep. So
we got to talk about this hotel room.
yeah, so I immediately upon seeing it, I got the feeling that the guys, when they read the books, were like, Yang was in his bed, Julian was sitting in a chair nearby, the bouquet was on a table, the plant was unshifting in the corner. They were watching the TV, and other than that, there is nothing else in this room.
It's such... Okay, it feels...
Like, they obviously went, oh, this is what's described in the book, but didn't think, what would be in a hotel room?
You know how you do animation in the old days where you have like a painted matte background and you're moving cells on that or whatever.
Yeah.
It feels disingenuous to like critique the scale too much because of the nature of that process. But the size of this room just feels really relevant because of the way, in the events that are about to happen, Julian has to repeatedly sprint across the length of the room because of the action sequence that's about to happen.
But it's like...
And it takes him like 20 seconds to get either side of the room each time.
And there's nothing in any of the room. There's like a window,
Just
and
huge
that's it.
White space.
Yeah. It's like, it's so liminal, I guess, is probably the word I'd use.
Yang is just like, he's on his hotel bed, shoes on the bed, very disrespectful. He's
terrible.
in a sensible white long sleeve blue long sleeve polo and white shorts. Sorry, no. White pants. Grey even.
Yeah, grey pants, white socks, black shoes.
Black wingtips.
Yeah, black belt to match the shoes. Classic.
Yep. The menswear guy on Twitter would not critique him too hard.
I would. Blue? Come on.
I mean, long sleeve polo top, it's a choice.
Yeah, but that blue doesn't match his hair. That's the problem. So, yeah, they're just
He's
sort of like
well,
watching...
I'm stunned. Didn't expect to get roped into a political circus in a place like this, but here we are.
So they're just watching the TV, replaying the
It's like,
stuff.
oh god, they've made you look like a war advocate. And if there's one thing we know about Yang, it's that despite being an incredibly gifted military commander
He doesn't
who
want to be a
keeps
soldier.
having miraculous victories, he really hates war.
He hates war. He just wants to be a history guy.
Yeah.
So there's a knock at the door. And Julian's all like, oh, I'll get it.
Hang on, let me take 20 to 30 minutes to jog to the other side of the apartment.
I think he was like on his way to get some like tea and brandy or something.
Yeah.
Because Yang was all like, ugh.
That little girl.
Oh,
So sad.
Let's get some tea. Come on. But there's a knock on the door. So Julian's all like, I'll get it.
I'll go look. Jog, 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 jog. Like 3 or 4 different camera angle transitions of him jogging towards the door.
And Yang starts taking a little nap. But he doesn't have time to have a nap because...
a bunch of pro-peace toughs burst into the room.
And they're like, you fucking assholes. Bam! Down goes Julian.
Damn you, Yang Wenli.
And they walk in and they punch Julian in the head. Or they try to. But,
Yang.
I mean, Yang. They've tried to punch Yang in the head.
And he
but
rocks back in his chair and hits his head on the back of the wall.
Oh,
Ow.
no. And they start being like, how fucking dare you? Are you pro-war?
You fucking
Is that what it is?
warmonger.
There's nothing in the room.
Julian runs all the way across the room to the suitcases in the very corner.
And again, this is like...
Jog, 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 jog.
This one room is bigger than my house.
Yeah, I would say this is the apartment that we're in.
Yeah.
It's a modest-sized one-bedroom. I'd say it's a large one-bedroom, modest-sized apartment.
The one that we're recording
Yeah.
in right now? The JoJo studio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say this one hotel room is bigger than my whole apartment.
I absolutely would agree. Yeah. It's absurdly large with no furniture in it other than the bed, a chair, and a table. And the table is like a coffee table.
There is a built-in wardrobe, though, so that's nice.
Why is the wardrobe there?
It's painted on.
It's so weird.
So he jogs to the very corner of the room where they've put their suitcases
Yep.
and pulls out a gun. And we're like, oh yeah, light him up, Julian.
And Julian's all like, stop beating him. And then we hear a woman.
Yeah, luckily Julian doesn't have to shoot everyone in the room in the head.
Yep.
Because Jessica Edwards is there, who you may remember from the 3rd or 4th episode of the show as the former fiance of Yang's now dead friend Lap, who died in the Battle of Astarte.
Lap.
And then they put her on a plane at the end of that episode because of the fascist thugs who wanted to kill her.
And this is where she's ended up.
Yep, she's ended up in the 2nd biggest city in an incredibly public-facing position.
So she's all like, guys, what do we stand for?
Peace.
And what are we doing right now?
Oh, hang on. Sorry, Nick.
What?
The hotel security do knock on the door, so Julian has to jog
yeah.
back across the room, jog, into the corridor, jog.
Oh, so sorry. We're actually having a party right now, and one of the guys got drunk. I know, so mature, losing control like that. Bye.
We have no further questions.
Yep, they look at each other like, oh, drunkards of the military. There you go.
Yep.
And then Yang and Jess get a nice, peaceful moment.
Having a nice chat, like, hey, sorry, I heard that those guys were going to come beat you up, so I came as soon as I could, and frankly, I think I made a pretty good time of it.
Yeah.
They only had time to throw one punch, really. But that was enough to kill Yang Wenli instantly.
This is the One Punch Man theme.
Oh, okay, I haven't watched that show in a long time. Couldn't remember.
Anyway,
So there's this guy, he can throw one punch.
Yeah.
But he's got one punch left in his fist for himself for when the time comes.
Why did you put it down so weird?
Oh, I thought you were looking at me because of what I said.
Oh, no. Look, if there was a show called One Punch Man where it was like, look, I can't kill people in one punch, but I have one punch for one special person. Oh, who's that? Me. I
can see that comic ending with him punching himself in the head and blowing his own brains out. He's got depression.
I mean,
he does. It'd be a sad ending.
It'd be a shit ending. Imagine if you're like, there's like something nice and funny and uplifting about a guy who can beat all these dudes with one punch. And then at the end, he thinks he might just commit suicide.
You did it, One Punch Man. You saved the universe. Now there is absolutely, definitely no one else who can stand up to your punches.
Looks down at his fist. The final challenge.
I only watched the first season of that. I don't know if he's built some more fulfilling relationships since then.
Well, I mean, I didn't watch the second season, but I'm pretty sure he goes on to, like, basically get familiar with the
hero brass.
Yeah, those big, like, the lady girl who's all like, I have telekinesis.
Lady girl.
You know the girl who's like, she's got green telekinetic powers or some shit?
She's got,
that
wind
one.
powers or some shit.
Yeah, lady girl, what's her face?
Stop saying that. That's such a weird way to phrase that.
What? It's like she's some lady and she's a girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fight you on this. I don't have the energy. I've got to pick my battles. Much like Yang Wenli.
Yang Wenli is there with Jessica, and he's all like, wow, I can't believe you're here.
If you were any later, I would have had to, I would have been pretty ugly at tomorrow's ceremony.
And she's all like, oh, Yang.
She interrogates him essentially on his ethics, being he's ostensibly anti-war, but as a high-ranking member of the military, he's obligated to go to this, ultimately pro-war ceremony.
Yeah, it's not even like a coronation. It's just like, hey...
It's the anniversary of the military academy.
Yeah. And he's like, look, I don't really want to do it. It's just that I have to do it.
And she exposits that she's a member of the anti-war party who has a candidate running for representative in a special election. So this is, as I said to you while we were watching, this episode, and potentially Jessica's role in the show as a whole, is very similar to the Padme Amidala episodes of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, where there's a very fun. I mean, I think it's very fun. I can think a lot of kids would find it very boring, and this is a kids' show.
This is like when a math teacher is like, "Isn't this fun?"
Look, I've got a political science degree.
Oh, okay.
I'm not very.
We're not very good at it.
I'm not very good at it, but it is evidently of interest to me.
Yeah. I love that literally anytime anyone talks about their, like, education, it's always like, oh, yeah, I got a degree in this.
It really bloody speaks to how the undergraduate degree has been devalued through the financialization of university institutions.
That's like, it's a problem. Completely irrelevant to my point. But... I mean, like, whenever anyone talks about their degrees, it's like, oh, yeah, I kept getting, like, high distinctions and stuff. Like, oh, do you like it? It's like, no, not really. I really like this thing. It's like, oh, are you good at it? Like, no, but I really like it. Like, they always seem to find that, like, oh.
Or alternatively, I did my degree in this. I'm so passionate about it, but I didn't really try in the degree.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I slipped by on credits.
Yeah, it's sort of like... Anyone who's good at something tends to go, oh, I don't know if I really enjoy it. And then they do something, they're like, I didn't really find it easy, but man, it was really fun. And you're like, okay, the thing you're describing is insane.
Anyway, there's some Clone Wars arcs.
Yeah.
One in particular I'm thinking of where Padme is rallying her political allies against a bill that will deregulate the banks so that they can extend more... loans to the Republic to commission the creation of more clone troopers to extend the war.
That's actually horrifying.
Yeah.
Imagine deregulating banks. Oh. Yeah, okay. Padme's wise in that regard. Yeah.
And then there's like a murder mystery plot or assassination plot against the senator because they put some pulp in there.
Yep.
But that's the sort of shit that Padme's doing, and that seems to be the sort of shit that Jessica Edwards is doing in this show.
Who's the lady that Obi-Wan wants to...
Duchess Satine Kryze.
Is she sort of, like, similar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except her arcs are obviously Mandalore focused because she's the Duchess of Mandalore.
She's also a highly pacifistic lady.
Incredibly pacifistic.
It seems that you're in an impossible situation.
I will definitely kill everyone on this ship when you let me get away, but you couldn't stop me by compromising your pacifist principles, could you? By the way, I will definitely kill you and everyone else. But if you stopped me, you'd be a hypocrite. But I am going to kill you minutes from now. And then Anakin kills him, and it was the right thing to do.
Wait, Anakin, why did you do that? He's going to blow up the ship.
We've already talked about that one sequence in a previous Legend of Galactic
we
Heroes
need
episode.
to reiterate. That's basically the resolution we need from every episode.
And I mean, to double down on talking about that,
go on.
I think there is legitimate reason to stand by pacifist principles in and avoid using political violence.
Why would you say something so controversial and yet so brave?
However, when the man who has rigged a bomb to your ship and is actively telling you that he is about to escape and is about to blow you all up,
yeah,
I don't think you're a hypocrite if you stop him from doing that.
Yeah, so this is literally the whole point of Trigun is Knives Millions.
Sure.
Is literally
I forgot
like,
about the fucking names in that show.
Yeah, literally he's just like, hey, Vash, I'm gonna literally blow up this, like, town of, 6 million or whatever, unless you kill me. And he's all like, well, I'm not gonna kill you because I'm a pacifist. It's like, is someone not gonna stop me because they're okay, well, then I'll blow up the fucking town. So then he blows up the town. But Vash is all like, I'm gonna save everyone.
I stuck to my principles.
Yeah. But then at the end of the show, he's all like, okay, I'm gonna force you to either kill this man or everyone in this town dies. And Vash is like, I don't even know this guy. He's just like some asshole. And then he has to kill him. He has a mental breakdown. Then he's like, great, I'm going to go kill my brother now. Goes over, tries to kill his brother. And he's all like, hey, Vash, how you going? He's like, yeah, good. Yeah, okay, so I learned a lot about pacifism and when it's applicable and the danger of, hardlining that shit. So I'm going to kill you now. And he's all like, you couldn't kill me. You're too weak. It's like, see, that's a different problem.
Well, I guess the ultimate stance of JoJo's World, the podcast, is that political violence has its place.
But you see, Liam, when you enact your vote, you're using political force. And force, my friend, is violence.
And the force is kind of an energy field that surrounds us and binds us.
See, the force is midichlorians.
The powerhouse of the cell.
Literally, I never thought we would thread the needle of Starship Troopers, Star Wars, and Legend of Galactic Heroes, but we somehow made a perfect...
They're all related to space.
Oh, fuck. That's a way easier one to do. But also somehow political science somehow got mentioned. So here we are, listeners. Listen to our incredibly in-depth and insightful discussions on political violence and anime. Are we dumb? Are we like...
Oh, look, we're definitely dumb. Like, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with what we just said. I just don't think we were being fully sincere.
Oh, absolutely not. But I'm absolutely sincere when I say if anyone tries to come up to me in the street and be all like, Nick, you should vote for this, I'll just die on the spot.
I'll just deck him in the face.
Yeah, I'll just immediately I'll die for them.
Okay, anyway, getting back on track.
So, Jessica's all like...
Jessica basically explains that the anti-war movement was growing and they thought they had a chance in the selection, but then the stunt that Yang got roped into has basically energized the pro-war sentiment in the thing, and now they think they have no chance, and that's really got all of her party members riled up, and that's why they came to beat him up.
And Yang's all like...
Whoops.
Oh.
And she's like, so if you think that we're right, don't go to that dang ceremony. They always throw fucking ceremonies on this planet.
But the other thing is that he's like...
I think we've... Sorry, go on.
Well, Yang is just like, well, I have to go.
It's my job.
Like, it's like, I can't not show up to work,
It's my job that I don't want to have.
Like,
I have to go.
Like, you have to understand, we all have to pay rent. It's like, that scene from, what's the fucking stoner comedy...
Sidebar while you're thinking of that.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure we have had more ceremonies on this planet than we've had episodes on this planet.
I think you're right, actually. Because we have multiple ceremonies per episode. Oh, damn. Maybe you're right. Anyway, I'm referencing that show about the two stoner ladies. It's a stoner comedy kind of thing. One of the episodes I remember is like, oh, I had sex with a guy, and then they go to a fancy restaurant the next day, and she's all like, oh, and then she goes to the toilet, and she's like, the condom was stuck in me, and they were like, how did you not notice
Buff.
this?
I don't know
And
what
the whole episode is just revolving around, how do I know if anything's in my body right now? And it's just a stoner comedy thing. But
And how does that relate to this?
what were we talking about?
Okay,
Ceremony,
moving on.
Jessica, something. It's all like we're threading the needle of Starship Troopers, Star Wars, this one comedy I can't remember the name of, and Legend of Galactic Heroes. It's all fine.
Yulion demonstrates his insight into Yang's mind by being like, well, you never told her that she's the reason we came here anyway. Then they go out and have dinner at a nice restaurant.
Try to have dinner more
where they are embarrassed by the staff who first bring them an autograph request from two women at the bar.
Beautiful women.
And then after, they got green hair and purple hair, the two anime hair colors.
That's the color of evil and corruption.
Yang is hesitant, but is kind of pressured into signing it. Then as soon as he does, the waiter clicks his fingers, the lighting changes, and everyone starts singing the national anthem.
Oh, da, da, da. Wait, that's Amazing Grace.
I was going to say.
It's legally allowed.
It's legally allowed. That's free speech.
Yeah, Yulian and Yang are like, should we leave? It's like, we should leave. So they just immediately leave. And on their way to their hotel...
It was kind of like the inverse of that bit in Casablanca, where they sing...
that's not the scene I was thinking of.
That French
Play that
anthem.
again, Sam, or whatever it is.
Play it, Sam.
Yeah.
To drown out the Nazis singing their pro-Nazi song on the piano.
Yeah, I was thinking this is the exact opposite sequence of the bit from the newsroom where they find out 9/11 happened, and they're like, he's a pilot, salute.
It's not that they found out 9/11 happened. They went on the plane during 9/11. So they found out they killed Osama bin Laden.
That's right. But it's like, apparently when a pilot comes on, they're like,
America.
Yeah. But this is the opposite in that Yang and Yulian are like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. No, well, we don't want this national
They overhear
parade.
a guy getting beaten up by patriotic Night Corp goons.
You're forgetting the most important part of this whole episode. They pass by some signs.
But they pass by some posters. We're running along. I'm skipping past it.
But then they say the best line of the whole episode.
Okay, I guess it has parallels to the previous episode. There's two huge rows of political posters of the two candidates. And they're looking at the Togliatti one, and they say, oh dear, what a waste. Despite who's drawn, it has artistic value.
Ooh.
It's a parallel to the discussion about the portrait of the Kaiser.
Anyway, so this dude's getting beaten down on by the secret police.
They scare him off, and then they take him back to Peace Party headquarters. And the Peace Party people are like, why did you do it, Yang Li?
He's all like,
Yang Wenli.
I didn't do it, they did it. And they're like,
oh, okay. Anyway, here's... candidate Thorndike. What's his name? James Thorndike?
Something like that, yeah. Who is the head of the Peace Party.
He's their candidate.
Yeah.
Jessica's there, and basically so there's this little sequence that happens here where they walk up to him. Oh, I'm what's his name? James Thorndike. And he looks like the Player 2 version of the other political candidate we saw earlier.
He really does. Does he look scummy as well?
Less scummy.
Little less scummy, but also still pretty scummy.
And they shake his
wearing
hand.
a suit.
And then one guy whips out his camera and takes a photo of it. And it's like, we can use this. And Jessica's like, no, that's dishonest.
We don't stoop to the tactics of the anti-war party by taking photos with people that are genuinely on our side.
So I found I checked the Reddit watch-along thread for this episode.
Okay.
And I found someone doing such a false equivalence between... the two sides in this political conflict.
Okay.
Hang on. Actually, I'll share this when we get to the next thing that happens.
Okay.
Because basically, Jessica's there. It's like, we're not like them. We won't use their underhanded methods. We'll win because our cause is just and we're right.
Oh, Jessica.
And then they Jessica and Yang go for a walk. They sneak into the grounds of the old academy and have a romantic moment. They remember how they met.
Romantic moment in the sense of...
They almost kiss.
Yeah, but Jessica does break down.
That's true. At the memory of her dead fiancé.
Yeah, it's so romantic.
But they flash back to how when they were in the academy, Lap would catch Yang just sneaking into the computer room to watch historical materials instead of going to war simulations.
Yep.
And he takes Yang with him to the dance. where Jessica, the principal's daughter, is also there.
They do a bit of lechery at first because it's like, hey, come with me. Check out this hot bae who's practicing piano over here.
Just like that beautiful sister, she also plays the piano.
Oh my god, they both play piano. So
We've actually already seen Jessica play the piano. She did it.
Yeah,
she was
yeah.
doing it when she found out Lap died.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sad piano. True. So anyway, they're all like, we're going to the dance tonight, boys. So they go to the dance.
They flip a coin to decide who gets to ask Jessica to dance, and it's a Yang, but he's got 2 left feet.
Turns out Yang sleeps a lot, but doesn't dance.
He's
because
such a sleepy guy.
He never took those dancing lessons.
Yeah.
So Lap comes over and is all like,
Mind if I cut in?
let a real man handle this, all right, boys? And then I don't know why I've got... So look, viewers can't see this. I look like a big baby
He's doing
walking.
chicken arms.
Yeah, I look like a fucking... Not a man who dances, that's for sure.
They dance, it's beautiful, they fall in love. But in her heart, Jessica was always like, I really wanted you to ask me to dance again, but you never did.
Oh, and then she breaks down at the thought of Lap being dead.
Yeah.
And she like literally just breaks down in tears, and Yang is all like,
And then they're going to kiss, but then there's a massive explosion because the PKC has bombed the Peace Party headquarters.
Now, what's this false equivalency that you were talking about?
Okay, with that bombing, I can talk about it with full context.
Okay.
This is from a... I'm not going to name them. What's the point of that?
It's about giving credit where credit's due.
I don't want to give credit to someone just to criticize them.
I would.
Just some rando, you know?
Yeah.
Without... as small as our following is and as inconsequential as this is, it just doesn't feel
Oh, okay, fine.
appropriate.
A Reddit user spoke to us and said this in a patronizing tone.
The scene with Togliatti, brackets, fuck him, using the war orphan and Yang to get his image up.
That's the first fucking thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Okay, yep.
Using the war orphan and Yang to get his image up reminded me once again of great things this show has. Great facial expressions. The face of Yang and the girl show lots of feeling. You knew Yang was feeling uncomfortable and the girl didn't even want to look at his face. Not a lot of shows manage to present their character feelings with so much ease. Now, nothing wrong with that. I think that's a nice observation.
Okay, sure.
Extremists exist in both sides of the alliance, the pro-war and the anti-war, and Yang just got a first-hand experience of it. He was pretty lucky Jessica was close. Those guys also like to play dirty, what with the pictures they took and all that. You can't really equivocate between the side that took a picture of him and decided not to use it,
Because we
and
don't
the
stoop to
side
them.
that bombed the other party's headquarters.
Yeah, okay, I can see why you were like, wait, what? Yeah. Well, maybe I could draw the equivalence.
Well,
but
I won't.
It wouldn't be a good equivalence. You can't compare apples and oranges.
And Thorndyke is being carried away in a stretcher. Maybe he survives, maybe he doesn't. We don't know.
Yep, all we know is Jessica is alive because she wasn't there.
And we know that Jessica... I'm just going to skip through it pretty quickly now because we are running very long. Jessica runs for the candidacy in his place and is victorious with 80% of the vote.
Which is insane.
So they think that the bombing attempt probably backfired.
Yep.
And that Dwight Greenhill, Jessica's father, is meeting with Yang, and he speculates that Trunicht is probably chewing out the PKC back at his headquarters even now.
Yeah. He reckons that it's just some underlings who got out of hand, not like Trunicht's orders or anything like that. But yeah.
And we have Jessica doing like a very touching Padme Amidala style political speech. I want to ask the people who are in power, where are you? While you send young soldiers out to die, where are you and what are you doing?
Yeah, War Pigs, Black Sabbath, let's go.
Yeah, Daddy Warbucks.
Don't call it Daddy.
As a character from Annie, I think.
Never mind. But yeah, basically Dwight
Greenhill.
Dwight Greenhill is all
Dwight
like
Longhill.
Yeah, Dwight Long Mountain.
Dwight Longarms.
He's all like, you know what? We should have a celebratory dinner.
And then they will.
Yeah, we don't get
Because
it yet.
Oh, sorry, I got a Y across there. Dwight isn't Jessica's father. He is the woman whose name I've forgotten, Frederica, Frederica Greenhill, who is Yang's second in command.
Yeah.
Or his adjutant.
Because she was like top of the
She's
academy
his
or something.
father.
Yeah. Jessica's just some lady.
Jessica was the headmaster of the academy's father.
Yes.
Daughter.
Yes.
Christ.
Okay. So Jessica, headmaster of the academy where Yang and Lap both went.
Yes.
Jessica's the daughter of the headmaster.
Yep.
Frederica Greenhill.
Is Dwight Greenhill's daughter.
Dwight Greenhill's daughter.
And Dwight Greenhill was one of the command staff who Yang is now of equal rank with because he was promoted after capturing Iserlohn. But he was one of the command staff who I think he was having dinner with Green Hill when they met the Rosenritter in that restaurant.
That makes sense, but I can't remember if it's true, so I'll let it
slide. We
this
didn't talk about the music in these episodes, and I only want to circle back to that specifically because the final scenes with the fire
at Klopstock's mansion
place were, of course, the iconic strains of Ludwig van Beethoven's Symphony No. 5 in C minor.
Ba-ba-ba-bum. Ba-ba-ba-bum.
Otherwise, it makes sense given the ball that was going on, but a bit more of a broad array of pieces in that first episode than we've seen in the usual like Mahler.
Listen, we just love Mahler.
Torelli, Chopin, Handel, bit of Handel, Weber, Bach, Dvorak.
Dvorak?
Yeah.
My boy.
And then in this episode, Mahler.
Oh, fuck my life.
Chopin, Dvorak, Brahms, Dvorak, Wagner.
Interesting. Brahms.
Mostly associate Brahms with that joke from Fawlty Towers.
Yeah. What
Brahms'
is that racket?
fourth racket.
My mum.
That's an alright joke.
Yeah, so my mum, who was in the West Australian Symphony Orchestra.
I worked there for a while.
Yeah. She was like lead violinist or something. She will consistently quote that joke because she was like, oh, that's exactly how people feel about classical music. What a great insight. Literally, like, almost on the daily, she'll be like, Brahms' fourth racket?
It's good.
Yeah.
Tell your mum I like her taste in that one specific Fawlty Towers joke.
What about the last episode of Fawlty Towers?
What about what John Cleese has been up to recently?
I think funnily enough, my mum, we had a long conversation about John Cleese at some point. I have no idea why, but I think her face went from like happy Fawlty Towers memories to, oh, what about John Cleese? And she went, oh no. And I was like, oh no.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Highlights.
Yeah, let's churn through it because, long ep. My highlight for these 2 episodes...
There's so many.
My highlight has got to be Reinhardt, Kirkheis, and the Baroness standing impassively watching Braunschweig and Fragel, or whatever his name is, batting impotently at the flames, engulfing their precious art.
Oh, no. I want to say my highlight has to be Yang failing to dance with Jessica.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Because literally in that entire sequence, I'm like, oh, he's me. Oh, he's too relatable. Oh, so good.
Lowlights.
My lowlight is when the secret police are beating down on the Peace Party member, they see Yang and immediately are like, cheese it.
Well, they can't fight him. He's a war hero.
I mean, they could, right? Like,
they were going to kill him before.
Yeah, they are the secret
but now
police.
He's even more of a war hero than he was then.
He'll be a martyr. Ooh.
I think my lowlight, and this isn't like I didn't enjoy this, but I think it's a objective low point in the quality of the episode.
I swear, if you say the length of that corridor,
you know I'm saying the size of the hotel room.
The hotel room is so dumb. It's so dumb.
Funny. Oh. Just the scene composition of that hotel room was so vacant.
It's so odd. Like, just even like when you look in the corridor, there's a porthole like in the wall on one side, but it's so small and so far away. The size of the door is like, oh, it's a hotel for giants.
Yeah, hello, welcome to the New Londo Hotel.
It's so weird. Like, anyway.
Anor Londo, I meant.
The Anor Londo Hotel. Yeah. Well, New Londo's
Anor
pretty
Londo
big.
Hilton.
But New Londo, the one underground, is pretty big.
Yeah, but Anor Londo's bigger, I feel.
Yeah, they build New Londo and all Anor Londoans are just like, oh, I've seen bigger.
Ours is bigger. It's got more cathedrals too.
Oh, where's your fucking bridges between the fucking towers, hey?
And where's the big hallway where you fight the Dragon Slayer and the Executioner?
Oh, how many kings you got though, mate?
4? We got God Kings here.
Well, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon my fucking orb
Our fire's never gonna go out.
Yeah, mate. Fucking bonfires for days, eh? Yeah.
The city where the light never goes out. That's what they call it.
Oh, are you having a bit of fun there, mate? Oh, maybe because your fucking sewerage is shit, eh?
How many fucking Lord Souls do you have, eh, cunt?
That one. That's a good.
Okay.
I can literally see a dude with a fucking mullet there as well, just being like full helmet and everything. Oh, who's the guy that is in like the prison that you open the door for?
Peter Serafinovich.
Yeah. And he's just there like full outfit, but then he's got a mullet out the back here and he's all like, oh, I've fucking seen bigger, eh, mate? That's it. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so Nick.
Yes.
both our guys had to grapple with some political maneuvering these past 2 episodes.
Didn't we all?
I think the narrator on the outro was saying that the Alliance was gearing up towards a big new offensive, given that they now control Isolone Fortress and the Isolone Corridor.
Yeah.
So what do you think will happen next time on Legend of Galactic Heroes as part of the JoJo's World Galactic Tour?
Space baby.
Space Baby. Where will the Space Baby be?
Where will Space Baby go? So I reckon 20% chance we're actually going to see any space battles in the next episode.
Yeah.
I think most of it is just going to be Yang trying to get out of doing a big offensive, even though it is his job, right?
He's going to sleep in. He's going to not go to the ceremony unless he really has to.
Yeah, and of
Which
course
ceremony, you ask? To which I say, of course there's a ceremony.
Yeah, there's 3 ceremonies coming up.
So he's got to go to the pre-ceremony ceremony.
Yeah, I mean, there's Trunic. There's going to be like, we have control of the thing.
We are have control of the Isolone Fortress.
Exactly.
I ask you to ask not what you can do for the Isolone Fortress, but what the Isolone Fortress can do for you. Give us control of space.
The answer is simple. Blow them up.
Blow them up.
Blow them up.
Here's the Death Star.
Yeah, so I reckon they're going to try and push from the Isolone Fortress forward.
Yep.
But the Empire has such powerful barriers in the way, like everywhere. So it must be something like, here's a key position that's like a sector or 2 away from Isolone Fortress. We can't get past it for these reasons. Your job is to get past it.
You know what this is reminding me of structurally a bit? Game of Thrones. In the way that you've got these 2 parallel plot lines, and they only really converge in climactic moments.
Yeah.
And it has me wondering if and when Yang and Reinhardt are going to be on a collision course again.
Oh, yeah. Well, they obviously... I think Oberstein is more likely to...
That's what I was going to say for my prediction next time. I still feel like we're due to see Reinhardt use Oberstein as his tool in some dark political maneuvering.
Yeah, so I figure we need to have some parallel with Oberstein as well on the Yang FPA side. Because, like, we know that Oberstein's going to be an assassin.
Or an underhanded dealer.
Yep. But we don't know if anyone on the FPA is going to be an assassin.
It's not Yang style, certainly.
No.
He's too sleepy.
But is there someone like Julian who'll be like, hey, I have a great idea?
I'd be surprised.
I think he's corrupted by war.
The more likely parallel would be continuing to deal with the underhanded dealings of Trunicht and the PKC.
True. So I reckon maybe, what if Trunicht is trying to set up Yang to fail?
I feel like he already did that with the Isolone thing, though.
But I mean, like, now he's like, you know what? I'm going to smuggle someone on board onto his ship so that...
traitor plot. And it's going to be like, did the Rosenritter finally betray us?
Exactly.
No, they've once again proven incredibly loyal to Yang.
Yeah, something like that, right? Where the mission is going to be like, not as hard as Isolone Fortress, but it's going to be something that he should win.
But there's internal disputes.
Exactly.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen anything like that yet.
Yeah, I think to really highlight, the FPA isn't a bunch of good people. Like, they'll absolutely fuck you up.
Yeah. All right, well, I think we'll find out all of that and more next time on JoJo's World. But until then, to be continued.